Hello creative friends, this is Joy. Today I thought I would do a flip through an art journal that I completed. This was an art journal, I guess several years in the making. Some of the pages were done back in 2013, and the reason why it took so long is because I actually have about 5 other journals that I also have been working in, and I kind of alternate back and forth between the journals and whatever ones that I feel like working in each time. I have one that's 12 by 14, a bigger journal that sometimes I like to work in, and I have others that are bound journals if I feel like doing a 2-page spread, and then I have several other spiral bound journals that I'm working in about this size. So far this is the only one that I've actually completed, and thought I would do a flip through video to show you the pages that I've done in this journal. And this is just a Daler Rowney mixed media journal. It's a 9 by 12, and I like this one because it's got the heavier duty paper for mixed media, and the journals that I started in just had drawing paper in them, which is very thin, and those you have to gesso them if you want to do mixed media, which helps. But this one here, I think some of the pages, a lot of them I did gesso, but you don't have to. It just depends on what you're doing and how you want the paint to be received by the paper, because if you gesso it, it receives the paint differently than if you don't gesso it, which if you've ever worked either way, then you know what I'm talking about, whether you worked with a page with no gesso or a page with gesso. So this is the first page, and a lot of these pages were from when I was participating. Let's see if I can get this in the camera view. Okay, there we go. When I was participating in Lifebook, a lot of these first pages are from doing that. I did that for a couple of years, and that was fun. And I tried to put the dates somewhere on the page so I would know where it was from. So this is from 2013. And this is just a drawing of a feather and some watercolor. And then here's another page. I think we were supposed to put in here something, but I never did. I mean, I did the page, and this has got texturing paste on it, and it's got stamping, and I thought turned out really cute. And on this other page, I was just kind of using it to use up any paint that I had left over. But typically you'll see in this journal the other page is just blank. With the spiral bound journals, I don't really do both sides. I have one where an earlier one that I started working in, and I was doing both sides, but I decided that there was really no sense in it, I guess it's personal preference, but I only do on the paint on, or do a journal page on the one side. I don't do it on the other. But here's another one from Lifebook 2013, and again I used the other, the back side just to clean off paint. This particular page is one that, one of the first ones where I thought, well, I need to try to come up with some ideas of my own, to do journal pages with. And I was struggling at the time with, quite a few things in my life, and thought that I would do a page that would help remind me of the good things in my life, and not to dwell so much on the negative, and, to focus more on the positive. And so that was kind of like what this page was about. Here's another Lifebook page, and this is from 2014, and this kind of skips around back and forth because I didn't go in any kind of chronological order. I guess I didn't put a date on that one, so I don't know when that was from, but again, this was all about, focusing on the positive. It says positive qualities, and, I put on here that I was artistic and loving and creative and driven and empathetic and hardworking. I love nature, problem solver, caring, and then I had a quote at the bottom. But this was Dylusions paint that I sprayed and let it run all over the page. And here's one that I did with, it's leaf prints that I did with my granddaughter. When she came to visit one weekend, we went to the park and we picked up some leaves and then came home and then did like a leaf print. And this was in 2014. We went to Silver River Park to do that, to get the leaves and then did the leaf print. This is another life book journal page called Sugar Sugar. That was from 2014 that I did that one. Here's another one from Life Book from 2014 that I did. And this is another lesson from Life Book that I did in 2014. This was a Tracy Batiste one, I think, is the one that she was showing you how to just do different things on a page. And another Life Book from 2014 that, talks about things you're grateful for, which is, my work, family, art, all the things I'm grateful for. Another Life Book, this is from 2014. Be present, live your life in the moment. I really like the way this one turned out. I did Dylusions paint on the back, and then I used a stencil with clocks on it and sprayed black through that. And then, of course, the background here was using blue Dylusions, sprayed through a stencil with circles. And this was a flower that I kind of drew on a different piece of paper, painted and colored and put on here. And then, of course, drew the face and colored that on the page. So this is another Life Book page from 2014. And this is another Life Book page from, I don't see, I'm pretty sure this is 2014 as well. And this is one that Jenna Belli was 2014 was doing. And it's kind of, these flowers are supposed to be dimensional, but being in my art journal, they kind of flattened out, which is okay. And then it was supposed to be like a love note to yourself, so I, really like the way this one turned out. And this is another Life Book page from 2014. And some of these I actually did them, but my granddaughter was visiting, so she did one as well. So this is one of them where I did one and she did one. And the stamps in the background are actually foam stamps that we made ourselves to do the texturing in the background and stuff, so that was fun. This is one that came up with myself that I did for Valentine's Day last year, 2015. And these were some images that I got from magazines, and I did the background with different paints and stencils, and then found the different images that I thought, represented Valentine's Day, and made myself a little tag, a couple little tags, and put this together with a doily. So I thought this turned out really cute. This is another one that I did myself. This is both of these are pictures from magazines, and then of course I did the background and the stamping and a quote. This was from 2015. And then here is where I got some Dana Wakley products, some stamps and some paints. I got a kit, that had stuff in it. And then the stencil, and this was a stamp, and created this page from the products that I had gotten in the kit that I bought, and this was in 2015, so this was a lot of fun doing this. I stamped these birds on a different piece of paper and colored them and then cut them out and put them on here, and did the background and stuff with different stencils and stamps, and that's a stamp. This was from Lifebook 2013. This actually was my very first jelly print, where I just printed the background, and then I used some foam stamps that me and my granddaughter had made and stamped the images on here and then put the word. So that was, like I said, one of my first jelly prints. And this is from Lifebook 2014 as well. I thought it was really cute. Different layers of paper and stuff, and then the girl, did her and cut her out and put her on here, and with some different sayings. Believe in your dreams. It's never too late to be what you might have become, by George Eliot, one of my favorite quotes. So I like that. This is one that I did where I did some like pattern paper and stamping and all that on the background, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the way it was turning out, and so then I went back and decided to put this face on this page. It's okay, not one of my favorites, but it is what it is, and that's from 2014. This is one of my favorite art journal mixed media pages. I actually took a flyer and I glued it down, gessoed it over, and then did some tape transfers here. This and this on the front is a tape transfer. Put down Tim Holtz tissue paper. That's what the background is Tim Holtz tissue paper. And then these are other Tim Holtz ephemera from one of their packs that I added to this page. And a quote, or well, a title that I found in a magazine. And the outside was actually, this was a page that I was just cleaning paint off on from the other journal pages. And so I really thought that it turned out pretty good. And actually the only other thing I did after I put this down is I just kind of went over it with some brown ink, just to kind of scuff it up and, make it look, kind of distressed. So that's one of my favorite journal pages, and I believe I did this last year. I try to put dates on all of the journal pages that I do, so that I kind of have an idea when they were done, but I don't see that I put one on here. So I believe that was last year. This is a more recent one, journal page that I did. Again, it's putting down some junk mail, glued it down, gessoed the whole thing, covered it with hymnals from a hymnal that I got from a yard sale at a local church down the street. The bird and the saying, it came from magazines that I put in here. So I really like this page too. It just reminds me not to hang on to things so long. So that's what the let it go is, and the saying and what it says in here is just kind of, follow your dreams and, not just to let things go, and, reminder, your future, your terms. So I really like the way that turned out. And this was another page. Oop, did I skip one? No, I guess this just feels thicker because I got a lot of stuff. Oh, and after putting the hymnals down, I painted it with some blue-green paint, and then I put tissue paper over the top of it. So I did more than just, and the inside I didn't put the tissue paper on there, so that's why it looks different. This is some kind of blue-green tissue paper. And so I guess I painted the whole thing with this blue paint and then put the blue-green tissue paper. So that's how I got that effect on the outside. And I really like that. I think it's kind of cool. And this is another page I did with when I got the Dana Wakley kit. I did different, colors through several different stencils. I did some stamping. Stamped this, which is one of her stamps, on a separate page, colored it, cut it out, put on here, and this is a stamp, one of her stamps. Be kind to yourself, you radiate beauty, you are enough, and then added a butterfly. I really like the way that turned out. This was last year, 2015. And this is a page a mixed media page that when my granddaughter was visiting, we just were playing around and doing different things. So I put different pieces of scrap paper on here, and I had a couple of stamps that I stamped on two, pieces of, scrap paper, and put those down. This is, what do they call this? This is for like wounds and stuff. I can't remember what they call it, but it's the gauze that you get where you can wrap, like a wound up in. And I sprayed it with couple different colors that matched the paper. And we did some stamping, or I did some stamping with a script stamp on the back. I glued down these, the gauze. This is the Dana Wakley stamp again that I stamped on just some deli paper, and put that down with the butterfly and some stickers, and that's pretty much it. I don't see where I put a date on this one either. Somehow I missed putting a date on this one too, but I believe this was last year that I did that. Another art journal page that I did when my granddaughter was visiting, we did tape transfers. So I did this tape transfer, which I don't know, can you see that? You can kind of see it there. It's too much of a glare from the overhead light, but it's a picture from a magazine. I did the tape transfer. The background started out with some cleaning off of stamps and stencils from some of the other projects previously, and so I added more to it. And then I sprayed it with purple to just fill in any white in the background. Put the tape transfer down, wrote the quote on here, and pretty much, that was that page. This is one I did very, very recently. This one I did just a couple weeks ago. This actually was a jelly print. Started out with a jelly print. You can barely see it in the background. Where I was playing around with my jelly plate, and I sprayed it with purple, which kind of covered up the jelly print that was on here. Put down a stencil that had like keys and words, and sprayed through that with some white dilutions, and then added things from my stash, picture of a watch, and then some titles and quotes and things, and some tags. That I actually, this one was a black tag that I put this quote on, and this one I painted black because I wanted it to match, and glued a title on that one. So this is about, working hard, and, experience, and talking about, whenever you see a successful business, someone once made a courageous decision, and accomplishing the mission becomes because failure is not an option. This is kind of one where I used to own a business, and failed because of the economic downturn in our economy, and I tried to hold on to it through the downtime, but the recession just was, it wasn't coming back very quickly. It was coming back very slowly. I ended up deeply in debt, had to close the business, go back to work, try to dig myself out of a pretty good hole. And I'd like to start up another business, but, because of that failure, it's a little scary for me. And so this is kind of like trying to, I guess, heal from that. I'm still working on it. That was quite a few years ago, because where I'm working now, I've been there for 5 years, and I do really like what I'm doing. I'm just going to stay where I'm at, and at least it's a steady, you know, income, and I can depend on it. Whereas if you own your own business, that's, you know, and I really need to be able to support myself, so I don't like not knowing from one week to the next, you know, whether I'm going to have money to pay the bills or not. So that was not fun at all for me. So yeah, right now I guess I'm okay where, you know, and content where I'm at. This is a journal page that I did when my granddaughter come to visit, and we did some coloring and some scribbling and stamping in the background, then covered it over. We drew faces on a different page and then cut it out and put it down, or well, did the dripping, you know, from the top, put the face on, and then added a word, confident. So to me, that she looks confident, so that's why I put confident, and you know, that's something that I am always constantly striving for, to be more confident in myself and my abilities and stuff, which is always seems to be a struggle, but I'm working on it and hopefully making progress. So this is another art journal page I did when my granddaughter come to visit. And these flowers actually were from a napkin. I thought they were kind of cool. So I did some stamping in the background, and I put down these napkins, drew, used the Posca pens, paint pens, and put these leaves on here, a stencil with the butterflies, and then just a quote that I had in my stash from a magazine. I have, I go through and I find quotes in magazines and pictures and things that I like, and, you know, cut them out, and I got, you know, got them in boxes so that whenever I'm looking for something to put on a journal page, I just kind of scour through that, and usually I'll find, you know, either a quote or a picture or both. So, and this says, with love and support, we can get through anything, which is nice. And this one, I believe, was last year. I don't see where I put a date on that one either. I need to remember to put dates on these. And this one I didn't put a date on, but this one I just did a couple weeks ago, so I really need to put a date on that too. But this one, it had some leftover from other projects, and it was this peacock feather stencil, so I did more of that on here. This is a stamp I stamped onto another piece of paper, colored it with colored pencils, cut it out, put it on here. Had this quote my stash that I put on here, and this is a little, I guess, tag you can call it. Me and my granddaughter one weekend made a whole bunch of these little tags, and yeah, I can't remember the name. I saw this online where they were making tags, and is it called joggles? Oh, I can't remember. But anyway, I thought that'd be a fun project to do with her, so we made a whole bunch of these. And matter of fact, I have them here. I have the other ones that I made, and I don't know what to do with them. And I you know, used a couple of them on journal pages, and we just used a cereal box, I think it was, and glued down some Tim Holtz tissue paper, then, you know, painted over it, cut it into pieces, and then added like little pictures and little charms and stuff to them. So I have a bunch of those that we did, and I thought, you know, that'd be kind of cool to put on here. It's talking about connections, and, you know, it says live, so I thought it was cute. This is another art journal page that I did. My granddaughter was visiting. I thought it'd be fun to do a junk mail art journal mixed media page with her, so I don't remember I think there was paint on here, so I put down this junk mail, painted the whole thing, this dark purple, the lighter purple, as you can see. And here's another one of those tags, you know, that, you know, I had like on over here, another one that I made that I thought would go with this page. A bird from a magazine, a couple more pictures. Oh, another tag. I guess I used more of these than I thought. A stamp, some stencils, or actually no, that's a stamp that I have. More pictures from magazines, more stamping of stars, and then this is stamps of dots. And it says the birds are watching, they know who you are, and they will attack. I don't know why I had that in my stash, but I thought it was I thought it was kind of appropriate because it looks like, you know, the poor little woman's being stalked by a bird and a wolf there, I guess. So yeah, and then, you know, with the bird on the front. So that was fun. Did I put a date on this? No, I did not. I think this was last year. I'm pretty sure this was one that I did last year with her. Here's another art journal page that I did with my granddaughter. We did some stamping, stenciling, doodling in the background, covered over with some watered down gesso, because to make it, you know, push it more in the background. Did a couple tape transfers. I did one of a cardinal, I don't know if you could see that, and of a tiger. And then did some stickers, a butterfly and some flowers. And then this was a tag that I had, because I also save tags, you know, off of clothes or whatever. I have another box that I throw tags in, and every once in a while I pull them out and use them on my pages. But this was a no boundaries tag, and then I added a quote at the bottom that says, the first step towards success is taken when you refuse to be a captive of the environment in which you first find yourself, by Mark Cain. So I thought that was kind of a cool quote. This is one I did recently, just the other day. I had gotten some dilution paints and some crackle, Tim Holtz crackle. I don't know what I did with it. I just had it here the other day. I got so much stuff here. Sometimes it's hard to find what you're looking for. I did some Tim Holtz crackle because I was wanting to find out or try that out. But I did some painting on here, and it had some stuff already on here from, you know, cleaning off previous stencils and stamps. I did some more stamping. I did the crackle, but I don't know. It didn't really look like it did much, and I think maybe I just didn't put it on thick enough. I don't know. It did put like a thin layer or film over the whole page, but it doesn't really look like it crackled to me. So I don't know. Maybe I'm not using it right, but I plan on trying it again if I can find it. But this is a picture from a magazine that I found in my stash, and a quote, "There's a crack in everyone. That's how the light of God gets in." So I thought that was kind of appropriate for the page, even though the crackle didn't seem to work as well as I thought it would. I even tried to rub over it with some brown ink to see if it would bring out more of the crackle, but it looks crackled because of the stamping that I did on the background. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see if I can get that in there. I had a word stamp that I did. It's a Tracy Batiste stamp that I stamped in the background, so it kind of looks crackled, but it really didn't crackle much. And this is butterfly. Actually, this is big red stamp butterflies. I stamped them on book pages, and then I used dilution paints to paint them. I got these dilution paints recently and absolutely love. I got a whole set of all colors, and they're so vibrant and so beautiful. I've just been using them on everything and just love them. So and I cut them out, and put them down, and then put the little antennas. So that's that. And this here is a page that I did for the Creative Collaborations group that I'm a part of. This was fun. I painted, watercolor and the background, and kind of with a paper towel, blotted to make it kind of textured. Painted had a picture of some mountains that I cut out for the frames of the glasses, then painted the glasses, and then glued those down and stamped it. So that was one of their events that they were having, and so I did the video for that and have that on my YouTube channel. This is another page that I did with some junk mail, just playing around. I did some Tim Holtz tissue paper on the background, painted it with acrylic paints. I drew the birds on here and painted them, and then wrote on here with my quill pen, birds of a feather, and then inside flock together. And I couldn't decide what to do on the inside, and as I was looking through my quotes, which I have tons of them, I don't know, I just decided to do a whole grouping of quotes in here. So I did a bunch of different quotes and then added a stamp and kind of a frame around them. So that was that page. Oh, let me see. Let me get this open back up. That I did. That was fun. This I did at the beginning of the year. This was my word of the year and my page of, that I did for my word of the year. But of all the journal pages that I've done, and there's several that I did not like, but I ended up covering them over and doing something else to them. This is my least favorite. I don't know, it just didn't really come out, and it was my first journal page of this year, and I worked on it 3 weekends in a row trying to improve or make it, I don't know, the first time I did it, I wasn't happy. I went back, did more, wasn't happy, went back a third time, did more, still wasn't happy, but decided, you know what, I'm tired of messing with it. I don't know why I was struggling so much at the beginning of the year trying to complete one simple journal page, but decided that I'm done, it is what it is, and move on. Basically, I tore paper, put it on the background, tore up some paper towels that had paint on it, did some stamping. This is a stencil that I had created that I used to put the image on here, and then the rest of it's just paint pens. And my word of the year is renew, which is to renew my dedication to my art and my creativity is what that's supposed to represent. So moving along, this is one page that I did for Valentine's Day this year, and this actually is a napkin. I put the napkin down on the page with some clear gesso. I painted around the hearts. There was more hearts actually, so I didn't paint around every heart, but I painted around most of the hearts that were on the napkin with black, because the background I think was red, and it was just too much red, and I really wanted it to have a black background. I used a white, what did I use? My Signo pen, the white Signo pen, and I just did some doodling around some of the hearts, and then I cut out from some cardstock the Happy Valentine's Day on my Silhouette machine that my husband got me for Christmas just this last year, and put that down, and pretty much did this journal page for Valentine's Day this year. This is one I did recently, and this was one of those where they give you a whole bunch of things to do. Like there was 10 different things. I think I actually have the paper here still, yeah. This was from Mike Dickens. I don't know if hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. It's a mission and inspiration, and it had 10 different things that you're supposed to go through and do, and that's what this journal page ended up being. And it was, putting down gesso, which I did black, and then using the opposite color to do something, so I kind of just drizzled it on here, the white. And I did some scribbling on here. I put grocery receipts on here, which once you heat those up, the print disappears. I did a focal point, pattern paper shapes, which was the leaves. Made marks with a credit card, which is the border. Apply a color through a stencil, which was these purple butterflies. Add journaling quote or phrase, and then add drips and splatters, which I did gold splattering on here. So that was where this page came from. This is a recent art journal page I did called Have You No Scar, and I did black gesso. Actually, I believe the black gesso was already on the page, and I was going to do something else with this page, but I never did. So I had the black gesso on the page. I don't even remember what I was going to do with it, but I decided to use some modeling paste through stencils. These are all stencils. I colored over it with some fluorescent paints. They were just some like cheapos that I got from Walmart that I thought were really pretty. I guess they were like kids' fluorescent paints, and I've been wanting to use them for something, so I thought, oh, that'd be pretty against a black background. Had some quotes in my stash that I cut out and put on here, and you know, no pictures on this particular page, but I really like the way it turned out. And this is one I did just the other day. Heal yourself a color. God puts rainbows in the clouds so that each of us can see the possibility of hope. And then this was a picture from my stash. These were quotes from my stash. These were butterflies that were left over from the other one here that I did. I had some butterflies left over, so I thought, oh, those kind of go. And then the background was just me playing around with the new Dilutions paints that I had gotten. I just did, you know, painting on the background and found this image with the colorful, you know, umbrella and the saying that I thought would go nice, and, you know, found the quote and put it all together and put the butterflies. And then the last page, this is actually with doing art journaling with my granddaughter. My granddaughter one weekend says, oh, I got an idea for an art journal page. So I'm like, okay, well, let's do it. And so she's the one that directed this particular art journal page. We ended up, you know, doing some, you know, painting of like some waves and a sky. And then we did the Drew bottle on a different piece of paper, cut it out, put on here. And then inside of a book page that we stamped and colored, we wrote something, I don't even remember what we wrote on there, and then tied it with a string and glued it on. So this was inspired by her, and that was in 2013. So that's pretty much the art journal flip that I have for you guys today, and hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.